Now call this Bryan Independent School District meeting to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and this meeting has been duly called and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The time is now 6 p.m. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present, and I ask that you please turn off the sound on all electronic devices and stand for the pledges. Our pledges will be recited tonight by SFA Middle School 7th graders by video.
The Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. Citizens may make comments about topics related to district business or topics related to district business that are on the agenda or not agenda items. Topics should be limited to 3 minutes. Comments concerning specific students or personnel will be heard in closed sessions. Do we have any comments tonight? Thank you. I now recess this regular meeting of the Bryan Independent School District. The time is now 6:02 p.m. I now call this public hearing of the Bryan Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and that this meeting has been duly called and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The time is now 6:03 p.m. Our first item on the public hearing will be the 2026-2027 budget. Presenter will be our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Norma Friddle.
Thank you, and good evening, Vice President Benford, board members, and Superintendent Carabine. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to review the proposed 26-27 budget and our proposed tax rate. We will provide an overview of the district's total revenues, expenditures, and tax rate assumptions. Following the presentation, members of the public will have an opportunity to provide comments before the board considers adoption later this evening. So as we develop the 26-27 budget, we kept a few important goals in mind. We want our students and teachers to have the resources they need to be successful. We want to continue attracting and retaining great employees, and we want our schools to remain safe and secure. At the same time, it is important that the district remain financially stable and maintain a healthy fund balance so that we can continue meeting the needs of our students and our community for years to come. Here you can see the proposed maintenance and operations budget for the 26-27 fiscal year compared to this year's projected actual results. There are a few important items to note. We are estimating about a 1.7% decline in property values, and our tax collections assume the M&O tax rate will remain the same as it is this year at 0.6769. When comparing state revenues, please remember that the current year includes one-time payments from property value audits for 2 prior fiscal years. Those additional dollars benefited the district this year, but they are not expected to continue. On the federal side, you will also see a reduction in charged revenue as we continue working with our vendor to improve our reporting and maximize all of our available funding. Other operating resources includes accounting entries for recording leases and subscriptions, as well as a portion of one-time local revenue from anticipated sale of district property. Overall, the budget reflects about a 1.37% decrease from this year's projected actual expenditures, while maintaining a stable fund balance of approximately 2.7 months. As a reminder, the 25-26 projected actuals are estimates. They are not audited numbers, and they may change as we continue posting year-end entries to close out the current fiscal year. And this is the proposed debt service budget, which is used solely to make payments on taxpayer-approved bonded debt. Like the general fund, we are estimating about a 1.75% decline in property values, and we're currently projecting that the debt service tax rate will remain the same at 27 cents. The revenue in this fund comes mainly from property taxes. State revenue represents hold harmless funding that helps offset the impact of increased homestead exemptions, frozen levies from taxpayers who are age 65 and older or disabled. In short, this budget is simply designed to collect the amount needed to make our bonded debt payments and meet our debt obligations. And here is the proposed tax rate based on information available today. Because Bryan ISD operates on a July 1 fiscal year, we must develop our budget before all of the final tax rate assumption information is available from the state. For example, we will not receive our final maximum compressed rate from TEA until later this summer. As a result, the M&O tax rate is an estimate and may change. Formal adoption of the total tax rate will occur in August after all the required information has been received. If any of these rates change, the district is required to republish and repost the new proposed tax rate to ensure transparency and keep the public informed. And finally, we are required to present the new taxpayer impact statement, which compares the current year to the proposed tax year and summarizes the median homestead value, the proposed tax rate, and the estimated tax bill for the average homeowner. The median homestead value shown includes the homestead exemption of $140,000. Certified values will not be received until late July, so we anticipate updating and reposting this information once final values are received from the appraisal district. This is a new requirement under Texas Government Code 551.043, and tonight's presentation ensures that the district remains in compliance. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Could you go back a couple of slides where it talks about the reduction in value? Oh yeah, right there. Maybe that's a good chance I just wasn't paying attention, but everybody's property values are going up. So what is the deal for most people? So why are we expecting a decline in property value?
This is not necessarily a decline in somebody's residential values. We may have experienced decline in commercial values. I know that our minerals, the mineral property did go down significantly.
Okay, so that's where it's coming from?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
It's not necessarily residential, but there are a lot of other value sectors, in the picture. So that's where we did receive a lot of decline is in the minerals.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do I have any other questions from the board? Any public comments? Okay, there being no further business, this public hearing adjourned at 6:08 p.m. And I now reconvene this regular meeting of the Bryan Independent School District. The time is now 6:08 p.m. Item 7 will be our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Benford. Just need to get Mr. Falls to, there we go. Thank you, sir. It's hard to believe that the school year closed out, but on such a high note, and we are forever grateful for our community's support and the support of the board. And as you know, because you stood there alongside all the rest of us at graduation, we shook the hands of over 1,000 students. And I'm so proud to say that we have prepared them for futures beyond their imagination. Just some of the graduates are off to attend Brown University, Rice University, University of Texas, University of Nevada, Cal Poly, Colorado School of Mines, Baylor University, of course, Texas A&M University, and everything in between. And just as important, we have prepared some of our students to enroll and to serve our country in the military. And in addition, on the same pedestal of importance, we have prepared our students to fuel the workforce with high-wage, high-demand skills as they graduate from our CTE programs with credentials and certifications. So we're very proud of the class of 2026. We wish them well, and we told them at every single graduation they are forever part of our school district family. So we, again, will be cheering from them from afar. We're also celebrating hot off the press. Yesterday we thought it was 10. Today we found out it's actually 11. We have 11 Dale Scholars at Bryan Collegiate High School, and just so that our community understands, this is a very prestigious honor to receive this. There's only 500 honorees across the state, and we are sitting here with 11 of them at Bryan Collegiate. To qualify for this, it's a college readiness program such as AVID that we offer, and they are enrolled in that, and they are going to attend a 4-year college or university and have a commitment to achieving their educational and career goals. These students have often overcome obstacles and taken the initiative in their personal and academic journeys. Each Dell Scholar will receive $20,000. They will receive a Dell laptop and $500 in textbook credits to help with unexpected expenses as they go off to represent us in many different universities. So congratulations are in order again to 11 recipients at Bryan Collegiate High School for receiving the very prestigious Dell Scholarship. And then finally, I'm proud of Bryan ISD. We all attended the Texas Association of School Boards Summer Leadership Conference last week, and we were recognized for full attendance. To have all 7 board members present is quite the feat to coordinate calendars, and I think it was a great time for our board so that the community understands that this conference is provided to school board members across the state of Texas to satisfy required training requirements, its compliance. In addition to that, it's nice to meet with school boards across our state representing all districts to network and to collaborate and to communicate and to coordinate our efforts to serve 5.5 million kids across our state and Texas public schools. So just a lot of great things happening in Bryan ISD as we close out the previous year and we get ready for the next school year, all while running our summer learning programs for students and our summer training programs for our teachers. So another great day to be in Bryan ISD. Thank you, Ms. Benford.
Thank you, Ms. Carabine. Moving on to number 8, board member reports. First, we will have the Bryan City School Joint Committee update by Mr. Stasny.
The committee met on June 2nd at the City Hall. This has been ongoing for many years, and it's been a great opportunity to work together and build relationships with the city. We had a really good turnout. Besides Ms. Carabine, we had all 3 of the committee members for the district, Mr. Bryan, Ms. Benford, and myself. And we had all 3 council members that serve on that committee, Mr. Salvato, Ms. Ewers-Shurtliff, and Ray Arrington. And then lots of staff. We had Dr. Merrill, Ms. Riddle. We had, I think we had at least one other person, but I don't remember who it was. But anyway, and we had quite a bit of city staff too. So it was a really well-attended meeting. And we had a presentation, a lengthy presentation on something that's pretty exciting, the Bryan Youth Sports Association Spring Combine and Mini Camp, and that was presented by Kathy Capps. And she did a great job of telling us what all they're trying to do, and lots of details to make that work. But that's going to be a great opportunity for the young kids in Bryan to get involved with sports at a young age, without necessarily the typical expense that parents have to deal with when it's kind of some of these private camps and so on. So anyway, it's a great opportunity. We also heard about the Parks and Rec developments, Midtown Park. This is from Mike Riggins, who's their Parks guy. Joint facilities use agreement. We have a lot of joint use agreements with the city on certain facilities. The new baseball team, the Yard Dogs, and Parks and Rec program hiring. Always a shortage of lifeguards, and they're dealing with that, but they're ready to go. We presented through Ms. Riddle our budget development, and Ms. Carabine also talked about celebrations and our plan to have a virtual school academy and to open the door to some out-of-district program transfers. So again, all in all, a very good meeting. It's one of them that I look forward to, and it's been a really good opportunity to build a working relationship with the city.
Thank you, Mr. Stasny. Teaching and learning update by Ms. Waller.
So our Teaching and Learning Committee, and pardon me, I'm kind of hoarse here. We had our meeting June 4th at 10 a.m. And those attending, Ms. Carabine, Dr. Barbara Ybarra, myself, Dr. Harlan Wolf, and David Stennis were able to follow up because of prior commitments. We first started out with the Texas Strategic Leadership. We talked about Bryan being one of 2 districts in the region selected to participate in the Texas Strategic Leadership Program, and this is a real honor. It is really, really good for our district leadership, all the way our district employees. Through this opportunity, an instructional strategic plan is developed over the course of the past year in partnership with the Texas Strategic Leadership Steering Committee, stakeholder groups, and feedback from the board. It is a living document that will continue to be updated and developed over the next 5 years of performance management. It is on the agenda this evening for consideration. You'll hear more about it. We talked about board policy updates. Our Texas Association of School Board Update 127 was released and provides updates to legal policies as well as some minor updates to a few local policies. Administration reviewed the local policy updates, and again, they're on tonight's agenda for consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Waller. Item number 9, informational item. We have one tonight, Transportation Fleet Management and Replacement Plan Update, presented by Director of Transportation, Mr. Bryan Washington.
All righty. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to present a school bus replacement plan. So what we propose is that we replace school buses at max 15 years. Once we order a school bus, it comes in, we use it as a trip bus. We want our kids to go out of town with the nicest of the nicest school buses. And so we'll use that bus for a trip bus for the first 1 to 5 years. Year 6 through 10, we'll then move it from the trip line and we'll put it on a route line. It'll be used in town on a route. And then after 10 years, we would like to then use it as a sub. This approach will maximize asset utilization. It improves fleet reliability and ensures the district derives the greatest value from its transportation investment while maintaining safe, dependable service for students. Our current fleet status, we have 8 school buses currently that are either at 15 years old or over 15 years old. We have 5 general education, 2 special needs buses, and 1 trip bus. I spoke to you all, I want to say at the beginning of May, about a new seatbelt mandate that's coming out. September of 2029, it will be in full effect. And any school bus that we purchased prior to 2018 were not purchased with seatbelts. So we will either have to replace those school buses or add seatbelts to them. Right now, we have about 40 without seatbelts. Our fleet replacement need is based on age. We currently have, again, 8 that are either at 15 years old or over. We have, in 2029, we will have 22 that's at the age of 15 or over. And again, we have 40 without seatbelts. Okay, currently, right now, in the 2025-2026 school year, we were able to purchase 8 school buses, 6 general ed, 2 special needs. That brought us to a total of 115 school buses. 78 are used for general education routes, 22 for special need routes, and 15 serves as trip buses. Okay, our replacement strategy. Our objective is to establish a sustainable fleet replacement program that maintains the district 15-year bus life cycle, improve reliability and safety, reduces maintenance costs, and ensure long-term operational efficiency. With that being said, we would like to propose that year 1 and 2, that we will purchase 8 general education school buses and 2 special needs. In year 3, and continuing on after year 3, we would like to purchase at least 15 general education buses and one special education bus each year. All right, so again, we recommend that that transportation would start a 15-year replacement plan, and begin to reduce the cost of maintenance that we're having to do on some of our older buses, and help out with the safety of all our kids. I mean, safety first every day. Any questions?
Can you go back one slide, that one? So year 3, I think you said purchase a minimum of 15, but is it 5?
It's 5, I'm sorry. If I said 15.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure
Okay,
we weren't
yes,
jumping
ma'am.
up.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
It's
okay.
5.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now, don't we have some bus money in the bonds that, so I guess my question is that obviously when we can get buses included in a bond, that's great because we have we have so many other things that we have to pay for out of our general fund. And I don't know where we are with regard to bond money and for buses for the foreseeable future. But that's something I guess that we have to keep in mind. We may or may not be doing regular bonds in the future, but do you know how much we have covered by the current bonds with regard to bus replacement?
Yes, sir. When looking at it, specifically for buses, we have not only money set aside for buses, but also for what we would consider our white fleet. So we have $4 or $5 million set aside. But again, we were able to move some money projects from 2025 to 2020 that we presented in the last meeting. And that would give us hopefully some additional space if and when this law kicks in, if we have to purchase some additional things.
Because this sounds good. I always have a little bit of doubt about whether a rigid replacement schedule is always the best way to go. I guess it's hard to, like you said, you want to have a really relatively new bus and certainly very reliable bus on trips, because that's where you don't want to break down anywhere, but a breakdown in the district, you can get a replacement bus out there. But with regard to a trip, that's a big deal. So I guess I don't have any problem with this, and we've got bond money to cover it, at least, again, I guess for the foreseeable future. But I wish there were a better way to evaluate buses and make sure that there's not something we can do to restore a bus so that it will maybe last a little bit longer. And why would I be saying that? Because the legislature hasn't done us a lot of favors lately, but with funding, and we know, as I've been telling everybody that cares to listen, we have about $8 million that's in terms of transportation costs, which I guess does not include the buses. Is that right?
No, sir.
And then the state's paying for giving us money for a little over $1 million, which leaves us dramatically short of funds for that. And I don't think we get any money, or do we, from the state or federal government, either one, for buses?
We do get some.
We do?
Very
I
small
mean, for the
amount,
bus
yes.
purchase?
Yes, sir. But the total amount that we had on the screen that you're referencing, that slide, that is everything. So when you add it all up, depending on where it comes from, that we're still short.
Okay, so it's the same kind of
Yes, sir.
situation, not near enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's, again, this is just an informational item, and so we're not necessarily even proposing that
I
we
understand.
purchase. Okay.
I understand.
But we do evaluate. Will you talk just a little bit about the fleet management and just the overall taking care of buses and anything along those lines, what that process looks like?
Sure. So we try to keep whatever we can keep in-house. We repair, we do a lot of repairs in-house. And so every school bus is brought inside. They do a 100-point check. They're checking under the hood. They're checking under the bus, inside of the bus, to make sure that it can drive. Some of the issues that I have seen since I've been here, we have older school buses that the engine goes out in. Well, engine 35,000 may not be the best to put into this 15, 16-year-old school bus.
Yeah. Well, I know they got a lot of miles, and they
Yes,
got
sir.
a lot of abuse from rough roads and all that. So
Yes, sir.
I suppose probably the best way to look at this is that 15 years pretty much max for a lot of things on a bus, that unless you started replacing all kinds of things, you'd be in trouble. And I assume we auction them off when we're through with them, and we get something for them.
Through the SWICO. And unless it's an engine or a transmission or something like that, then we're just replacing the parts. And the service department does an incredible job of not only servicing the diesel buses, but they also take care of our white fleet and all the other vehicles that we have. And so those guys do a phenomenal job. We're very, very thankful for them, and they keep costs down, to be honest. So again, this is recommendations. If a bus is going good, we'll keep driving it until the transmission or the engine. And that's an evaluation that we look at all the time is, do we put money back into it, or is it better to purchase something new?
Sure. That's always a tough call sometimes. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
We have anything else for Mr. Washington?
I just want to thank Mr. Washington and his leadership and his team this morning when those terrible storms were rolling through. He and his team were out checking the conditions of roads at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we were making game day decisions to decide if we could run summer school today or if we needed to delay the start. So thank you for going out again, time and time again at 3 and 4 in the morning to check the roads for the safety of our children.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. We'll now move to item 10, consent agenda. The board can remove any item from the consent agenda if they so choose. If there are none, I will entertain a motion.
I move approval of all the items listed on the consent agenda.
Second, but I'm seconding it with just a prelude that says, we've seen all these things before. There's nothing new here, so.
Have a motion by Ms. Waller, seconded by Dr. Wolf. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. The ayes have it. Now we'll move to number 11, action items. 11A, we will consider approval of a budget amendment for the general fund and food service funds for the year ended June 30th, 2026, presented by our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Friddle.
Thank you, Vice President Benford. Tonight's action item is a budget amendment for the General Fund and the School Nutrition Fund. Both amendments include adjustments to several functional areas based on our year-end projected actual calculations. As we've discussed throughout the year, we closely monitor our budget to actual results to make sure our expenditures align with the budget adopted by the board. This amendment helps ensure that the appropriate budget is in place within each function as we approach year-end. This will keep the district in compliance with state budget requirements and ensure that no function exceeds its authorized budget. At this time, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Have any questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the budget amendment for the General Fund and Food Service Fund for the year ending June 30th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Stasny and a second by Mr. Stennis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. 11B, consider approval of the budget for the year ending June 30th, 2027 for the General Fund, Debt Service Fund, and Food Service Fund, also presented by Ms. Fritter.
Thank you, ma'am. Tonight, we are presenting the three budgets that require board adoption: our General Fund, Debt Service Fund, and our Child Nutrition Fund. Developing a school district budget is one of the most important responsibilities that we have, as it serves the financial roadmap for the upcoming school year. Like many districts across Texas, we continue to face challenges related to declining enrollment, stagnant state funding, inflation, and rising operational costs. Throughout this process, staff work diligently to balance those challenges while keeping the focus on students, employees, and our priorities established by the board. We believe this proposed budget reflects our best estimates and positions the district to continue serving our students. Our budget goals are always centered on investing in high-quality instructional resources, attracting and retaining top talent, maintaining a strong fund balance, and ensuring that safety and security remain a top priority in all the decisions we make. Tonight, we'll begin with the proposed maintenance and operations budget. As you've heard me say before, developing a budget requires us to make a number of estimates and assumptions based on the best information available at the time. Here you can see some of the key assumptions driving the budget. We are budgeting state funding based on an average daily attendance of 14,189 students. We are also estimating a decline in property values of approximately 1.75%. And finally, the budget assumes the tax rate that is in place today, although the final tax rate will not be adopted until August, once we receive all the required information from the state. Here we have the proposed general fund or maintenance operations budget presented at the function level, which is the level at which the board adopts the budget. You can see each function and the amount budgeted to support those activities. We covered this budget in summary form during our public hearing, so many of the assumptions are the same. You'll see the estimated 1.75% decline in property values and the proposed M&O tax rate, which is currently assumed to remain the same as this year. One of the bigger items to note is that the budget includes a portion of one-time local revenue from the anticipated sale of district property. Overall, this budget reflects our best estimates based on the information available today and is designed to support district operations while maintaining financial stability. And here is our budget at the object level, which is meant to bring a little more visibility into what is included in that $186.5 million budget. As you can see, payroll continues to be our largest expense, accounting for over 86% of the total budget. I've included some highlights within each object code to help provide some additional context so that you can see what's behind the numbers. For example, contracted services includes major items such as utilities, legal fees, and operational repairs. Supplies includes instructional materials as well as custodial and maintenance supplies. Other operating costs are primarily student and staff travel, and you'll see significant costs such as property insurance reflected in this category as well. This view simply provides a little more detail into how the district plans to spend its resources during the upcoming school year. And here we have our proposed debt service budget, or interest and sinking budget. This budget is fairly straightforward, as it is simply set at the level needed to make payments on our voter-approved bonded debt. Many of the same assumptions apply here as well, including an estimated 1.75% decline in property values and a proposed debt service tax rate of 27 cents. Overall, this fund is simply designed to generate the revenue needed to meet our debt obligations while maintaining a stable tax rate for our taxpayers. And here we have the proposed Child Nutrition Fund budget. This fund is primarily supported by federal meal reimbursements and local meal sales. Similar to the general fund, enrollment does matter. The more students who participate in our breakfast and lunch programs, the more reimbursement revenue the district receives. As participation changes, so does the revenue available to support the program. School nutrition is intended to be a self-sustaining fund, meaning the revenues generated by the program should be sufficient to cover its operating costs. One unique thing about Bryan ISD is that we participate in the Community Eligibility Program, or CEP program. In simple terms, that means that every student in Bryan ISD can receive breakfast and lunch at no cost to their family. So all our students eat free. And finally, once again, we are required to present the taxpayer impact statement, which compares the current year to the proposed tax year and summarizes the median homestead value, proposed tax rate, and estimated tax bill for the average homeowner. Certified values will not be received until late July, so we anticipate updating and reposting this information once final values are received from the appraisal district. Once again, this is a new requirement under our Texas Government Code 551.043, and tonight's presentation ensure the district remains in compliance. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So I know there's a lot still hanging out, like things that are unknown. But at this point, we are seeking to adopt a zero balance, so a balanced budget. So expenditures will not exceed revenue.
Correct.
And I think that was very important to a lot of us, and we appreciate that. But as you've already mentioned, one thing we did or had available to us was the one-time sale of real estate. So that's the reason it's not a deficit. And I think you were right to point it out, and I think the public needs to know that, because at some point we may have to consider the possibility of what's called a VADER, which is just an acronym for a tax increase that would be a very beneficial tax increase if it's only for golden pennies because of the way they're funded. I'm not going to get into all the detail on that, other than to say that it is a possibility that we may consider that. And again, I point out that yes, we have a balanced budget, but we did have to include in there, for now at least, the sale of real property to make that happen. And we're not going to be able to do that every year. We can't sell property every year. So what the average family might say, or a member of family might say, well, you know, if I don't have enough money, we have to tighten our belts. We have to cut costs, and we have to live within our means, and the school district needs to do that. And I want everybody to know that we haven't been sitting on our hands. We've been, and the administration has played the biggest role in this, of course, is to, at our direction, we said, look, you know, do it, see what you can do. And there's been a lot of effort put into reducing our expenses. And some of it was probably past due that we needed to do no matter what, and other things could conceivably impact how we serve students in a negative way, because we can't cut positions, cut other things that are very useful and good for students, and not expect there at some point to be a negative impact on students. So we don't want to do that blindly and say, oh, well, sure, all we got to do is cut this, fire some more people or lay off people or just not replace them when they retire or whatever. It's not that simple. So I guess again, the main point of my comment is simply that we're hanging in there and we are not having to have a reduction in staff like some districts are doing, and so far we haven't closed a school. We're not doing that, but we're in some ways you could say we're hanging by a thread. We're not in a really comfortable place with that, especially when, once again, we're having to sell some real estate to make sure that don't have a deficit budget. So it's a long way of saying for everybody to please keep an open mind on what we do in the future. We want to do the right thing for our staff and our students. We also want to do the right thing for our taxpayers, and sometimes that appears to clash, and we know that. So thank you for your presentation, and as I said, I just wanted to make sure that no one in the future, if we talk about possibly trying to increase revenue, points to what was said tonight and say, well, they balanced the budget and they seem to be doing fine, so obviously they don't need any more revenue. And in my opinion, that's not the case. We're using the sale of property as putting the finger in the dike, and it's going to get us through the upcoming year, but it's not looking down beyond that.
I'd like to piggyback off Mr. Stasny's comment and just not, excuse me, gloss over the work that's been put forth in this budget. I think we all know that there's been a lot of people that have spent a lot of time rolling up their sleeves and going through some pencils and erasers by fine tuning and identifying the things within this budget that we can identify and be more efficient. The sale of the property, I think or having that in there, or is just a testament to this group in the effort that we are identifying things within this district that are no longer maybe serve their purpose as maybe they once did, or no longer as efficient as maybe they once were. And so I commend the staff for identifying these areas that we can utilize to go back into our M&O bucket, given the circumstances that the financial landscape that the industry of Texas public education is currently put in. I think coming from our recent trip to San Antonio at the SOI, I mean, it is apparent, abundantly apparent, of the situations that a lot of school districts in this state are in. And so I say all of that just to say that, and again, to piggyback off of Mr. Stasny's comments, that I think that what I hope is being communicated through this effort is that we are identifying things and maybe unnecessary expenses, for lack of a better term, or potential assets that we can utilize to our benefit. And so I don't want that to go unnoticed from all this, is that, yeah, it's a small slide deck with, some numbers all over them, but there's a ton of work in there, and we are not operating with our head in the sand throughout this whole environment. And so I commend the staff. I commend those that have worked a lot to identify these items, I don't know how many spreadsheets there are. I know there's a ton. And so, again, I applaud you, Ms. Friddle, and the rest of your staff, and, everyone else that's really rolled up their sleeves and gotten after this task, because it's important. My belief, I don't speak for the board necessarily, but a budget deficit in this climate is not a sustainable path. And so I don't know anybody, any business that consistently can operate in a losing money endeavor and come out on top. And so or have a vision and a pathway forward. And so I think that this is a critical item that we've identified and addressed.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? If not, I will entertain a motion at this time.
I move approval of the recommended budget for the year ending June 30th, 2027 for the general fund, debt service fund, and food service fund as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Wolf, seconded by Ms. Waller. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Ms. Frill. Moving on to 11C, consider approval of a resolution for the commitment of fund balance for the year ending June 30th, 2026, presented by Ms. Norma Frillo.
Thank you, Ms. Benford. This annual resolution applies to the general fund and is primarily a financial planning tool that allows the district to formally commit a portion of the general fund balance for specific purposes, including self-funded programs such as our health insurance plan and our workers' compensation plan as examples. The resolution also authorizes the superintendent to determine specific amounts for certain areas where potential liabilities or financial needs could materially impact the district's budget. This action item does not spend or transfer any money. It simply commits a portion of fund balance so that the district is prepared should these financial obligations arise. Be happy to take any questions at this time.
Well, when I think about our benefits, and when I say our, I mean the district's benefits, people need to know the board doesn't get the health benefits that the district does, though we're charged with managing it and making sure that it stays solvent. But I know that in years past, we've had significant issues with a lot of expenses that required transfers of fund balance in order to keep the plan solvent. So I hope one of the good news points that we're seeing this year is that that has moved in the right direction. Folks are more educated on where to go for care. We want everyone to have care, but when you have choices between things that cost the plan a lot and things that cost the plan a little, making the right choices for your family helps everyone in the district and helps us get to that balanced budget, for sure. Because the last several years, we've had to transfer millions of dollars to cover that. So that was going to be one of my questions, but this sets us up in case things kind of move in not such a good direction, we're able to manage it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Ms. Frillo? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move approval of the attached resolution committing fund balance for the year ending June 30th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Wolf, seconded by Mr. Stasny. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. 11D, discuss and consider approval of a purchase over $50,000 for property, general liability, cybersecurity, and automobile insurance, presented by Ms. Norma Frillo.
Thank you, Ms. Benford. This agenda item is for the annual renewal of the district's property, general liability, cybersecurity, and automobile insurance coverage for the period of July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. Bryan ISD has partnered with Texas Political Subdivisions, or TPS, since 2016, and they have served as the district's insurance carrier during that time. The insurance market has become more competitive over the past year, particularly for organizations with favorable claims histories. The proposal renewal reflects an estimated savings of approximately $325,000 compared to prior year, primarily due to the removal of a significant hail claim incurred in 2021. As that claim dropped off the district's history loss, Bryan ISD was viewed more favorably by insurance carriers, resulting in more competitive pricing. The renewal will maintain the district's current coverage levels while continuing to provide comprehensive protection for district assets, operations, technology systems, and vehicles at a reduced cost. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I move approval of Texas political, that's the right one, right? I move approval of Texas political subdivisions as the property, general liability, and automobile insurance carrier as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Waller, seconded by Dr. Wolf. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. It passes. 11E, discuss and consider approval of purchase over $50,000 for excess workers' compensation insurance. Ms. Fribble again.
Thank you, Ms. Benford. This item is for the renewal of the district's excess workers' compensation insurance coverage with Midwest Employers Casualty. This coverage functions as a stop-loss policy for the district's self-funded workers' compensation program. Under the proposed renewal, the excess coverage activates at $400,000 per person and helps limit the district's financial exposure to large or catastrophic claims. The proposal renewal is slightly favorable this year and reflects a savings of a little more than $2,000 compared to the prior year. We recommend renewing coverage with Midwest Employers Casualty to continue protecting the district from significant workers' compensation claims costs. I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
I move approval of Midwest Employers Casualty as the excess workers' compensation insurance carrier as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Stasny, seconded by Mr. Stennis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. 11F, discuss and consider approval for the purchase over $50,000 for school leaders' liability insurance. Ms. Norma Fribble.
Thank you, Ms. Benford. This is the last item here. This item is for the renewal of the district's school leaders' liability or educators' legal liability insurance coverage with AIG. This policy provides protection for the school district and its school leaders against claims involving alleged errors, omissions, or wrongful acts arising from the performance of their professional duties. AIG offered renewal terms that maintain the district's current coverage levels with no changes to coverage, rates, or premiums. At this time, we recommend the approval of the renewal with AIG to continue this important protection for the district and its leadership team. I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
I move approval of AIG as the school leaders' liability insurance carrier as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Waller, seconded by Dr. Wolf. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Let's have it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Fribble. Thank you. We're at 11G, consider approval of a purchase over $50,000 for TransFinder Wayfinder, presented by Dr. Bryan Merle, Deputy Superintendent. And Mr. Brian Washington is going to join him.
Absolutely. I'm thankful, obviously, Ms. Carabine mentioned the great leadership, and he's done an amazing job at joining our district and really hitting the ground running. And the morale, as well as the professionalism, is just tremendous. So we're so very thankful for him and just see great things in his future, no doubt. And this is one of the things that he brought to our district, or we were looking at, and that he's picked up and ran with. And so run with. You're going to see this is something our families are really going to love, and our drivers are as well. So we're excited to be able to present this and kind of get into the 21st century for sure.
All right, tonight I would like to introduce Wayfinder. It's a transportation tablet platform. Here, we'll talk about what the tablet is and how it works, and what our plans are, how to implement it with transportation. Okay, so Wayfinder is an all-in-one tablet platform if you've ever driven a bus, you know the challenges that you face trying to read a sheet of paper and drive the bus, especially at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. This will give you a turn-by-turn navigation, tell you which way to go. It actually talks to you. It has a route sheet within the tablet, and it's real-time routing updates. What that means is our routers could be in their office at transportation. We see that a road is closed. We're able to shoot the change to that tablet, and that driver is able to see, okay, I can't turn right here. I need to turn up ahead or something of that sort. Currently, we have challenges in transportation, as stated before, reading a route sheet while driving. This morning, we had several subs on buses, and it was a challenge driving in the rain, 5:30 in the morning, trying to figure out which way to go. I'm glad we have safe, professional bus drivers who are able to take that on. But if there's any way we can help them, this would be great. It'll get rid of paper route sheets. It'll help us with communication. New drivers would not experience the pain of becoming a new driver, having to learn off of a route sheet. And it would improve efficiency. Okay, as I stated before, the tablet will give turn-by-turn voice navigation, digital route information, real-time route updates. It also has a way that the driver can pre-trip and post-trip on the tablet, which is something that we are enforcing it before every route that you check your bus. You do a pre-trip and a post-trip. Student rosters will be available and visible. What this means is if I have a student that I'm going to drop off on stop number 3, if this student tries to get off at the wrong stop, it shows me, no, you're not supposed to get off here. That will really help us with our pre-cares, first grade kindergartners. And we're able to send a driver an alert also. For the driver, easier to navigate as a regular driver or substitute, reduce stress for new drivers, less reliance on paper route sheets, improve communication with transportation staff, no need to use a phone. Okay, improved on, the benefits for students and schools, improved on-time performance, more accurate route information, faster response to route adjustments, better communication during emergencies, and improved accountability. And I would also like to add, we will see, if Henry, I'm making up a student's name, if Henry hasn't ridden a bus in a month or two, and we're having to drive 6 miles out the way to pick Henry up, we can then make a phone call to Henry's parent. Is Henry going to ride the bus? If not, we could take him off the route sheet, and it'll save us time and fuel with the cost of fuel. All right, so in order to pilot this program, we want to bring it in with limited number of tablets. We will train certain drivers how to use it. We'll probably pilot it with one elementary campus, one intermediate, one middle school, and then a high school. Then we'll take all of that info. We'll get the feedback from the drivers. We'll monitor how things are going operationally, and we'll then work on the improvements. At this time, we will not use student ID scanning at this time.
So let me go ahead and ask this now.
Yes, sir.
I guess you're not quite done, but so this is a pilot. We've got a number here of 261,000. That's just for the pilot?
So we're not using everything right up front. We're not using the ID cards. We're not using the scanners. This is only for the tablets on each bus.
But the number here is what we're being asked to approve. That's without all of those, that's still how much it's going to cost for the pilot,
That's how much it's costing for each tablet.
for the tablet.
Yes, sir.
And the tablets are supposed to last how long, or do we have any idea how long they're supposed to be good for?
To my knowledge, when I talked to the company, I think they told us right at about 10 years. It updates. They send updates to it, and it should hold.
Okay, because that's kind of important, since I don't know that, sure, technology is always improving, but at the same time, we wouldn't want them to say, well, we're not, you can't use that anymore. You got to buy the new and improved version after 3 years. So,
Yes, sir.
so I'm hoping we can get some assurances that this is not going to be something that's going to require us to replace these tablets in a very, fairly short time, because this is a pretty big price tag for
Yes, sir.
something of that type. And then in addition to the purchase price of the tablets, we will have operating annual costs on top of that, or not?
So we will be using bond money to cover this, I don't know that we said that at the beginning, but I did want to make that clear. This won't be coming out of the general fund. And that does include that operational cost.
Okay, do you know how much the operational cost?
I can find out, yes, sir.
Okay, but that's not being requested for approval tonight?
No, sir.
Okay.
I was curious how, if the students aren't scanning in, how do you know which student is supposed to get off on which stop?
So the system would take all of the students' info from Trans Route Finder, and it'll take all of the students' info from there, and that driver can then punch each kid in.
So it's like a digital roster.
Yes.
So when the
Yeah.
kid gets on, you punch them in and
Yes.
punch them off.
Yes,
Pictures.
yes.
It has pictures as well, so you can see the
Okay,
kid
you
if
can
they've
know.
come on the bus. So it'll help with that route, just identification. Also, it links with the programs that we already use, and
Yes.
so parents will get updates. So it doesn't track the student like the RFD cards, RFID cards, but we are able to manually do that, and then that communicates to the parents when they got on the bus or when they got off the
I
bus. So
see.
that will become part of the process. So
So it's
now-
integrating with other
there you
systems
go.
we have.
Yes, ma'am. That's
Got it.
exactly right.
And that's new.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Our ability to do that was inaccurate. It wasn't as good as it is now, because you had a time or a suggestion of what we thought it would be, whereas this is going to be a lot more, it's live, as he's already mentioned.
Well, this all sounds like a really good idea, but I'm still just focused on looking down the road, no pun intended, is that if the pilot's successful, then what are we talking about? What's the total tab going to be to fully implement it, and is all that in the bond?
It's all there, included in that amount. What he's talking about rolling it into a pilot program is we're not going to take everything and just do it
Oh, so this is
once.
not just for the
Right. The
pilot?
200,000 will take care of
Yes, ma'am.
full
Yes, ma'am.
implementation.
I apologize for not
Yes.
making that clear.
Yeah, I
That's
think
what
I was kind of
asking
stuck on
earlier.
that.
So it purchases everything, but operationally, we would roll into it just so that we're not trying to handle everything that goes on.
Okay.
So the purchase amount is it, but we would roll it out on a gradual basis.
Okay.
Yeah, and
That was a little shocking to see a pilot for $250 million, so I.
Sure.
Yeah.
no, sir. That gets everything, and just on the back end side, we won't do it that way. We would take it out just with a few buses at a time so that we're understanding and learning the process.
And I guess just so we'll know, would like to know what the operational cost is going to be, because is this going to be charged by the company?
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
Yes, sir. It's all built in. We already use TransFinder and all of those programs, so we've used those for years.
Oh, okay.
So this is just an addition to, it's like a add-on to
Okay,
what we're doing.
Okay, so this is
So
not.
this amount will cover everything.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I guess I got a question. Are these things hand-free? I mean, I know that might go without saying, but I was driving around San Antonio, staring at, driving down, looking at my phone the whole time, and so I'm just making sure that.
Where will you put them in the
It's
screen?
hands-free.
Okay.
Yeah, that cost actually covers the tablet and the equipment to actually put it on the bus.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I think I am kind of, agreeing with David, Mr. Stasny, in a regard where it's like, we're paying $261,000. Now, granted, it's out of bond money, I understand that. But then what operational cost going forward after that? Is it, yeah, you're getting 261 out of bond, but it's gonna cost you another 100 in annual service and maintenance and updates and all that other stuff out of the M&O bucket. And so that's kind of where my head is leaning to, is it sounds great. And I see the value in it, I do. But I think it's afterwards, then what? Is kind of where I'm thinking.
We'll come back in with that.
Yeah, I just kind of appreciate just a little follow-up on it.
So you have one more slide, I think, or is that the last one? You got
I do, yes.
kind of interrupted. Go
You're
ahead.
good.
No, it's okay. I'll ask a question after you get through.
There you go.
Okay, future possibilities is student ridership tracking. That's with the ID. That's with the ID. We still can track but that driver has to manually hit each kid. Not hit, I'm sorry. Not touch. Have to
Well,
enter into the tablet, each student. All right. For attendance tracking, parent notifications, future consideration. And then, again, this is it helps with safety. It helps with safety. Again, if you ever driven a bus, you have 60 students behind you, drivers all around you, and you're trying to look at a sheet and drive at the same time while maintaining order. It is very, it's a lot going on, but it's a challenge, but we have professional drivers who do it every day. If we can help with safety in any way, we would love to.
And I just want to add to it, dating back to bond steering, this was very important to the committee for our safety so that the drivers could navigate without distraction, but just as important to be able to track our kids, if you will.
Yes.
Because sometimes the kids get on the wrong bus or they get off with their friend
Yes.
at their stop,
Well-
and then we're scrambling to find a child. So this will ensure accountability, because when the kids get on the bus, you enter in that they got on and you enter when they got off.
Yes.
And God forbid we can't find a student, we'll know that timestamp and what location they got on and off.
So for summer school, just for example, our elementaries, it's not just like one campus. They'll take 2 or 3 and go to a campus. And there may be 2 Emmas or whatever. And so they, if the picture's there, they know they got the right Emma, or they got the right Julia, or what was the name? Henry? Henry. And we know who they are, and so we're able to facilitate it. Because you get those pre-K kids, and is this your house? Yes. I mean, they don't, they don't know. They don't know their address, and so you're trying to work with them, but those pictures will obviously help. And again, it's integration with the software that we already use.
I think there's 2 things. I think most people had no idea that buses don't have a GPS system
ma'am.
and a digital screen.
You would think
in
so,
them.
yes, ma'am.
I mean, but like you were talking about, some of these buses are 15 years old.
Yeah.
No cars had them 15 years ago. And so people are amazed to think that we're having to retrofit our fleet and our buses with GPS screens, and our poor bus drivers have been handicapped to take written directions is what they amount to, and having to, like my grandkids, Mimi, I can't believe you can drive without a TV and without your screen. the truck I just got rid of. And so I'm glad for the bus drivers that they finally are getting into the digital world. But also, I know as an administrator, especially something like summer school where things are a little lax and a parent may have said, okay, you can get off with him and go swimming today, but all the adults in the life doesn't really know about that.
Right.
Well, as an administrator, I used to think, okay, who's my first, if a parent says, well, where's John, he didn't get off the bus. Okay, now we've got a point to call, because that point of, was that kid on the bus, is the bus driver. I mean, usually we could call, but the bus driver might go, well, he never got on, and then it's back to the school, and then the school's looking around on the campus. But now there's a point. There's
Yes,
a
ma'am.
point person
Yes, ma'am.
or a point digital
Yes, ma'am.
thing, and some parents believe more in technology than they do people. And so now there's a place that we know, okay, if they scanned on, they're there. If they didn't scan on, they're not there. Of course, that goes with the, how good the bus driver is about keeping up
Yes,
with
ma'am.
that. But they know because they care about their kids, so they're going to be diligent about that.
Well, we can also run reports, and we can see if they're doing it. So it gives us greater accountability with our drivers.
I move approval of the purchase of the GPS-enabled tablets for district buses in the amount of $261,221 to support routing, navigation, and student attendance tracking. This item was approved in the 2025 bond and will be funded using surplus funds from the 2020 bond.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Stennis, second by Mr. Stasny. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes. Thank you so very much. We're now at 11H, discuss and consider approval for the purchase of over $50,000 for the renewal of Operations Hero.
We came in a while back and talked a little bit about Operations Hero, and we're still very, very satisfied, very thankful for this platform that we use district-wide for work order management, preventative maintenance, asset inventory management, facility and event scheduling, energy management, and it also has a mobile access capabilities where our custodians, our supervisors are able to look at all of those things, for example, the work order management, or even the preventative maintenance items that pop up. And then it gives us the reports and analytics that we're able to look at to really track. And so we were using a program that was not as robust, and this one is substantially more robust. And we're very thankful to be able to enter it in, and honestly, it's gone really smooth. Our staff has taken it on, and not only the campuses, but the maintenance and operations side has really embraced this, and it's improved our practices tremendously. And so again, this is nothing more than a platform specifically built for public schools that allows us to take care of the maintenance and operations side of the house, and allows us to really dive into it to make sure that we're handling everything efficiently and effectively.
And Brian, who has oversight of this as far as managing it to check it as far as facility reservation and things like that?
So for the facility, or specifically the rentals, is that what you're asking? Yes, ma'am. So we've got a couple of folks that do it. Jacob Justice from the Fine Arts Department, Chris Gibson from the Athletics Department, and then Rose Campion as well, to make sure that everybody, all of that information gets inputted, and then it gets billed out appropriately and accordingly. And so those are the two main departments that get it, but anyone can enter it in. It's really kind of like, it's not an email system, but it's the same type of interface. You go in, you click an object, you send it, and so, for example, if a campus wanted to rent a space, they could do that as well, or if a church wanted to. So primarily, they will contact Chris Gibson, or they'll contact Jacob Justice, and then they make sure that the schedule's clear, and they sign all the appropriate things, and then Rose sends the appropriate information out.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Dr. Morrow?
I move approval of the renewal of Operations Hero for a period of July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 in the amount of $55,789.98.
Second?
I have a motion by Dr. Wolf, a second by Ms. Waller. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. 11I, consider approval of the Bryan ISD Instructional Strategic Plan developed in partnership with Texas Strategic Leadership. Presented to us tonight by Dr. Barbary Barr.
Thank you, Ms. Benford. Good evening, Board. I'm here to bring you an update on the process of Texas Strategic Leadership. Just a little bit of review, because I know we've been in the boardroom before discussing this partnership with Region 6 and the state of Texas. But Texas Strategic Leadership is a program that's operated through the Texas Education Agency and the corresponding region service centers. Districts were invited to apply to be a part of the program, and it's basically aligning the work of a district into what the state has released as the effective district framework and utilizing those best practices. You might remember, Mrs. Waller mentioned it earlier, but the district was one of 2 selected in the region to participate, and one of the 3% of Texas public schools that are participating this year in the TSL program. You may think back to this time last year where Mrs. Carabine had to go through an interview with a panel at TEA to be able to be selected for our district to participate. So it was a pretty rigorous application process, but we were thankful to be a part of it because it really focuses on the main work in districts and in education, and it focuses on this next statement here. A strong student experience is the core driver of the student outcomes. So the outcomes you're getting is based on what the students are experiencing each and every day. When we think back to the Team of 8 training, we talked a lot about those student experience statements in the fall semester. If students experience that high level of instruction, engagement, and belongingness in every single classroom and every single day, the outcomes would be as we would hope they would be, and that students would be successful. So essentially the way the TSL program works is it starts with those student outcomes. What are the outcomes you're looking for? What do you hope to achieve? And then you backwards design it by, if that's what you want to achieve, then what should the student experience each and every day? And if that's what the student should experience each and every day, what does the campus need to do in terms of aligned systems to make that possible? And what does the district need to do? And then ultimately, here in the boardroom, the effective governance to expect all of that throughout the district. They have a graphic. You guys have seen this before, but the effective district framework has multiple levers working backwards from what, again, that student outcome is supposed to be, looking at those experiences, making sure that we have all of the critical systems in place under talent and finance, that it's all aligned and orchestrated so that we design those student experiences and we funded that to be able to be happening so that the students can ultimately be successful. It's been a year-long timeline so far. This is a multi-year process. But right now, you can kind of see on the screen there, we are approaching the end of this first year, and we have a draft, this is very draft, of the strategic plan that is ready for your consideration. But as Mrs. Waller mentioned earlier, it's not a approve it and the check it's done. It's an ongoing process and an ongoing document that ebbs and flows with the needs of the district and is responsive to the data in the district. So this evening, we're seeking board consideration of the high-level overview of the 5-year academic plan. This is, again, a high-level overview. There are much more granular details that are mapped out as a result. I'm only going to share kind of an orientation to the plan and the major components of it. It is a pretty lengthy document with lots and lots and lots of details. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you see that high level at a glance. They try to make a one-pager so you have everything in one page. This is the highest level overview we can possibly give with the vision, the mission, the House Bill 3 goals that are board approved, those student experience statements that we worked on during the Team of 8 training, and that went through multiple stakeholder groups over the course of the past year. But ultimately, we focused on 3 major strategic priorities for academic success. 1 being the student academic experience, 2, instructional leadership and capacity building, and then 3, we blended talent and finance together because they do go hand in hand. So really that's 2 different effective district framework levers that we felt like they were so critical to having that human capital that can be workforce ready and is ready to serve our students, and that comes with quality finance and attracting that high quality talent to the district. So initially, the document is laid out where we go a little more deeply into each of these strategic priorities. And as you kind of look at both of these items up here, again, I'm not going to go into the detail of reading those items on the screen, but they are aligned to the key practices of the effective district framework. So the Strategic Land Committee for TSL came together, looked through everything in the effective district framework, looked through all of the landscape analysis data, and they said, based on all of this, we feel like these are our top 5 or 6 priorities under this lever that we as a team need to be working on and designing a plan for implementation. And so you'll notice that it'll say KP 4.2.5. That's just referencing that effective district framework at the state level that we are aligning to. And in fact, members of cabinet here also led different aspects of this. So Mr. Roberts, Ms. Friddle really focused on the talent and finance section. And so they led a core group and subcommittee of stakeholders through that process to identify those key practices. After they identified that, you'll notice that it then goes into a year-by-year goal sheet for each of those strategic priorities. So when you see the 2026, that's really meaning this summer and right now, what do we need to be working on right now to launch appropriately in each of the 3 areas, the strategic priorities, so that when we get into year 1, what's the core work that we're going to be working on? So again, this is very high level. For each of these will be a more granular, detailed performance management tracking that will go with it and be reported to the Board of Trustees kind of as we move through it. So year 1 is developing that academic strategic plan. Year 2 is developing performance management systems where we track the leading data to know that what we're expecting to happen is actually happening. So for example, one of the key things that we want to work on in the upcoming school year is that there are non-negotiables, so to speak, for what that academic experience looks like. For example, a print-rich environment. Each classroom has a very print-rich environment that teaches throughout the lesson while the teacher is teaching. So you have an anchor chart where they walk through the lesson or a particular concept. When we go into classrooms, we're going to be looking for a print-rich classroom. We talk about academic monitoring, making sure the kids are on track with you throughout the lesson, not just at the test or at the end of the lesson. So again, we're going to be looking for that as we go through, and we'll be reporting that data into a system that Region 6 is helping us develop. So all of these, those are very small examples, but they're aligned to each of those 3 strategic priorities for years 1 through 5, and then ultimately reported to the Board of Trustees each year, both formatively and then, of course, summatively. So for this evening, the request is that the 3 strategic priorities and the corresponding high-level 5-year plan is here for your consideration and discussion. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
What was that term you used? Print-rich?
Print-rich classroom.
What does that even mean?
So, for example, for our emergent bilingual students, it means word walls that help make that translation and transition into education for what the student's experiencing. But one of my favorites are the anchor charts. So when you teach a concept of diagramming or laying out the framework for a writing sample, the teacher will use chart paper and write out what the key process is as a visual, and then that goes on the wall. And that stays on the wall because it's the anchor for the student to remember how to do that. And most classrooms will have like a little learning timeline because the teacher will remake that anchor chart with each class period so that it is remembering for them, and the prettiest one, so to speak, goes up on the wall, and it's kind of their learning journey throughout the school year. Many teachers often comment that even when a student goes to the assessment, while the anchor chart's not up there any longer, they're still looking for it because they remember that's where it's at. And so it just helps with that memory.
So we need big paper and markers.
Big paper and markers, yes.
It's funny how that goes
Full circle. Tablets for driving, Big Chief tablets for the rest of us.
What's the TSL steering committee?
Sure. The Texas Strategic Leadership Steering Committee is comprised of district staff members who are teaching and learning, campus staff members who are administration, and also instructional coaches.
It's about 40-ish people that have worked throughout the course of this school year to both collect data and then also review data that's collected by the district. They also work in conjunction with receiving information from various stakeholder groups, like the Superintendent Advisory Committee, the Parent Leadership Team, and so they'll pose questions for other groups to weigh in on to help guide their work in developing this document.
So one of the things that was exciting to me about this is that you've got a lot of other folks who are very skilled at what they see, or presumably are very skilled at how this is all going to go, and that to foster excellence in every way. When this is described on the annotation here on the agenda, I'm just wondering how much of this is involving input from the folks with Region 6?
So they're at every single meeting, and they help co-present and guide meetings with us. They've walked every single school in our district and every single core academic classroom for ELA and mathematics.
Do you feel like that y'all have gained from that?
Yes, tremendously,
Okay,
yes. Great assets, great partnerships.
Great.
So back in the day when, we had lounges, teacher lounges, and it's a myth now. It's just like an analogy, but, teachers would say, well, I can't believe we're paying so-and-so to come in and give us in-service,
Great point.
especially when we have good people right here that could do the same thing. Well, this is very prestigious. We've been selected to do this
Yes, ma'am.
by the best in Texas, the people in Texas who are the best teachers to do this, and we're not paying a dime.
We're not.
And
You would normally pay a consultant quite a hefty sum to do all of the work and be on campuses the way they have been.
and they're coming in and teaching at every level, and the whole district is getting the same information with the same goals and objectives and hopefully great outcomes. Again, we're not paying a dime. They're not having to spend a whole bunch of time outside the classroom as much, and it's like a dream come true. And for our staff and, everybody. And we were selected for this. We didn't,
Yes.
it's a big deal.
It's been tremendously helpful to guide the work. You get busy in the day-to-day, but you've got to take the time to do the planning that this document represents, so we know where we're going. It's also nice because it's aligned to everything we're doing with Texas instructional leadership, and it's a coordinated system versus, and now we're doing this, now we're doing that. It brings it all together in a very cohesive way. And free.
Yeah, with the end result, we will have an academic strategic plan to drive the work, to align the practices, to enhance our student experiences and improve student outcomes. So it's good work. It is the work. Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Ibarra, for your leadership.
I move approval of the Bryan ISD Instructional Strategic Plan as presented.
Second?
I have a motion by Dr. Wolf, seconded by Ms. Waller. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 11J, consider updates to board policy. Dr. Barbara Ibarra.
Thank you, Ms. Binford, Board of Trustees. I'll be also joined by a few other members of Cabinet and the district team because it is board policy update time. Now, here's the good news. This was an exceptionally minor update. So on the screen, you can see there are a number of ways in which updates happen. They can happen at the will of the Board of Trustees, of course. We want to make a change to local policy. Sometimes it's a policy alert. The case in this situation is it's a numbered update from the Texas Association of School Boards, and so on. There are different ways in which it happens. This particular update is still reflective of updates from the legal session, the last legislative session, and predominantly focuses on legal policy. A reminder for the audience, I know the board is well aware, but legal policy is approved by statute and the legislature, and it is implemented across the state of Texas. Local policies are approved by the governing body of the Board of Trustees and is reflective of the legal aspects and how the district operates them. So this evening, we have a few local updates for you. This particular update has gone through subcommittee, looking at not just the local policies that are changing, that are the board's purview, but what changed in legal, just so that we're making sure that we are up to date with whatever's required in terms of practice and procedure in the district itself. This particular update, again, was very minor, especially in comparison to the last update that we had following the legislative session. It was predominantly administrative in nature, with some restructuring of codes and policies and moving some things around, with very little functional changes that were very impactful. So we're going to go over a very high-level overview of them. We will not hit every policy because some of them was as simple as removing the word designee because it's implied now. So it's really not substantial. AIA legal, there were a couple of updates here on the legal side of the house, and again, while there's no local corresponding change to make, I do think it's important for the board to understand what those changes are from the legal policy. The legal policy was updated in compliance with the statute changes where the commissioner is required to make accountability ratings as reasonably possible, as soon as possible in the years in which standards are modified, meaning there's no longer a hard deadline for reporting accountability results following a change in standards across the state of Texas. It just needs to be reasonably as soon as possible. Further, the commissioner may not assign an overall performance rating of not rated to all school districts or all campuses on a statewide basis. So that did happen during the COVID implementation. That is now prohibited under law. So regardless of the situation, the commissioner must issue accountability ratings. We then move into board policy C series, which is business and support services. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Merrill.
Yeah, you'll see one up there, again, the same thing Dr. Barr just pointed out, the local policy isn't affected, it's a legal policy. And you'll see what they basically did is they amended the language and they put the onus not only on the manufacturers of school buses, but they put it on us, for example, the seat belts. And so they're saying that they're going to be manufactured with it now, and if you've got a bus, you got to retroactively go back and do that. Again, you've heard us multiple times come in here. So again, it's just kind of language change, and they're placing the responsibility on us. That's pretty normal.
That's par for the course. CQA legal also changed. The board is aware of this one. The board minutes from a meeting and board resolutions approved at a meeting must be posted online within 7 days of that approval. We are in compliance with that, but it's now in our actual legal policy. And then next, I'll bring up Mr. Roberts for this D series, which is personnel.
Good evening, and like Dr. Ybarra said, most of these updates are driven by the last legislative session. We have very little functional changes with these updates. So we have board policy DEAA legal. They stripped out some language there about the mentor program allotment, which was repealed by the last legislative session. And instead, they're now putting in language for the prep allotment, which is the different mentor allotment now moving forward. And then the DP series, you see there that they are recommending restructuring that series, so deleting it completely and then breaking DP into DPA, which is language regarding principal qualifications, and then DPB, local, which is dealing with counselor qualifications. So a lot of restructuring and with very little functional changes throughout Series D for personnel.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Okay, next we have the E series, which is instruction. EIC is here on the board or on the board agenda for consideration. There's a minor update to EIC, and it pertains directly to the Bryan Virtual Academy. Part of ranking class and GPA has been that distance courses are not included in ranking class and GPA. We'd like to add the addition, except for those earned exclusively through the Bryan ISD Virtual Academy, since we will have tight oversight of that and can vouch for its effectiveness and quality. And then EHDD is also there. It's a legal policy. This is a really great thing. They just formalized again that language for the FAST program, which allows dual credit courses, those fees to be waived for students who are on free and reduced lunch. And so now it's in the statute. It's been in practice. Blinn is a great partner with us for that. But it allows dual credit courses to be more readily available to students with financial hardships. And I did not include anything in the G series because there really wasn't anything in the G series. Again, this update was, again, administrative in nature for the most part, with a few changes. Are there any questions we can answer for you?
There are no questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the updates to the local board policies as presented.
Second?
I have a motion by Dr. Wolf, seconded by Ms. Waller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And it passes. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. 11K, consider and possible action to select the delivery method providing the best value for the chiller replacement project, and to authorize the superintendent or her designee to take all action for the procurement of such services pertinent to status and board policy. Dr. Brian Merle.
Thank you. I've asked Melissa Martin to come up with me. She's a familiar face. Many of y'all, if not everyone, knows her. She's an invaluable asset to the district. She does a phenomenal job in our business department, and she is our procurement expert. But before we get to that, Mr. Stasny, you asked a question, and we had it in the annotation. I just couldn't remember the number. You asked about year 2 and year 3 costs for the software package going back to the transponder, the wayfinder. In the annotation, it's $95,520 for year 2. In year 3 will be $100,296. So in the $95,000 to $100,000 range for the transponder software beyond year 1. So those were the operational costs for year 2 and year 3.
So that's an annual?
Annual, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, moving on to what Ms. Benford talked about. We do have, we're very thankful that we were able to, we've referenced it a few times and talked about it with bond oversight and even in the boardroom, but we had some bond savings from 2020. So what we did is we looked at our bond 2025 items that the committee went through and approved that were priority 1 and identified as part of our facility assessment and as priority 1 needs, and we went ahead and moved them forward. So we're going to take 2025 items. Many of it is the MEPT stuff, the mechanical, engineering, plumbing, technology, and we're going to move that forward, and we're going to pay for it out of 2020. But to do that, there's a time limit on using bonds, and we want to make sure we always honor that. You have typically a 3-year window to, once you sell bonds, to then use them. And so we believe that these projects would be best served using a purchasing cooperative and interlocal agreement. And Melissa can explain all of the details if needed, but basically what it does at the beginning of the year, we join these interlocal agreements, and they've gone ahead and put forth their best price for the following services or items. And we're able to use that. And what that does is it allows us not only that competitive opportunity. Normally we do CSP, the competitive seal proposal. And anytime we're going to deviate from that, we have to come into the boardroom and tell y'all what we're doing and why we're making that decision. And in this case, it's we take advantage of the fact that it was already competitive at the beginning of the year, like they had to submit their best price. They know if they don't include their best price, then they wouldn't obviously get the business. But the timeliness of it allows us to get the dollars spent before that August timeline. And so it represents the best value for the district. And again, normally it wouldn't be done this way. It wouldn't be at the end of a project or the end of the cycle for the money. What it would be is at the beginning of it, and we know the school or we know the items that we're going to do, and we would do a competitive seal bid proposal type of situation. And anything beyond that, I think Melissa's here to help me answer any questions if you have any. So it's just a different procurement method for the following items, and that we'll be using that interlocal agreement, the agreed upon prices for the items that we're going to be selecting for the chillers in this case.
There are no further questions. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I move that the board approve the use of interlocal agreement or purchasing cooperative as the project delivery and procurement method for the chiller replacements at Bonham, Crockett, Houston, Johnson, and Navarro elementary schools, determining this method to provide the best value to the district in accordance with board policy CV local as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Stasny, a second by Dr. Wolf. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Merrill. The board will now convene in closed session to discuss the following items as allowed by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.074 and 551.0821. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussion in a closed session will result and occur after the board reconvenes in the open meeting. The time is now 7:40. An open session at 8:38 PM. No action was taken in closed session. Item 14, consider approval of the recommendation to hire the principal of Bonham Elementary.
I move approval of the superintendent's recommendation to hire Jacqueline Naciancino as the principal of Bonham Elementary.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Wolf, second by Ms. Waller. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Item 15, consider approval of the recommendation to hire the principal of Jones Elementary School.
I move approval of the superintendent's recommendation to hire Dee Darnell as the principal of Jones Elementary School.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Wolf, seconded by Ms. Waller. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Item 16, consider approval of the recommendation to hire the principal of Sam Rayburn Intermediate School.
I move approval of the superintendent's recommendation to hire Whitney Foreman as the principal of Sam Rayburn Intermediate School.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Wolf, seconded by Ms. Waller. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 8:39 PM.